welcome to my Flosstube, Flosstube. Hello everybody, and thank you for stopping by my Flosstube channel. My name is Jason, my pronouns are he and him. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025, and this is Volume 1, Episode 6. If you have just stumbled across me through the YouTube algorithm, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find something to entertain you or to inspire you. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your consistent, steadfast friendship. I appreciate that. And I hope you enjoy your time today. It's been 2 weeks since my last video, which is normally the case, but there hasn't been a lot going on. School has wrapped up. We're moving into the summer routine now. Work consistently goes on, but it is nice to have that breather where you can focus on one thing, and really just get into that slower summer academic world kind of vibe. So other than that, there hasn't been too many new things. Some news around the house. I've been working for several years on converting a traditional suburban lawn into a wildflower meadow slash pollinator garden. So that's sort of the intent. It's a longer process than you would imagine. And so this year I don't feel like I've gotten any progress done at all. So it may be a longer process than I was originally thinking. So I was hoping to get some stuff done back in March, and the past 2 months just got away from me, and so the seasons move along and they don't wait for your calendar. So there may be some stuff that's not going to get done this year, if that's okay. I have about a week left before it just gets too late to do anything before the heat comes around in Texas, and then it's just too late to actually do anything with any sort of vegetation. So that is one of my big ongoing projects out in the world, so it's in a stagnant mode. But one of the other things that we did happen in the yard is finally got a wind chime up. So we got a set of wind chimes. It is, I think it's 42 inch, so they're big resonant tones. And so they have that deep, deep drone that goes throughout the yard, which I love. But it is right outside my window. So if you hear that chiming today, that may be what that is. So there's also a lot of birds out talking today too. So you are really going to get the full effect of everything that's going on in my yard. So yeah, with that, it has been relatively quiet 2 weeks, which I'm okay with. So I feel like I got a lot of stitching done and made a lot of progress there. So that's been really enjoyable. So what are we going to cover today? I don't have any new starts. I don't have any finishes. I don't have any haul. So we'll just cover WIP updates and plans. I have a lot of plans that are laying around in my mind, and some maybe not so specific plans, but some things that I'm thinking about. So anyway, let's just jump into those. So my first WIP today is actually my happiest, the one I actually love stitching on. It is the Yule Cat by Baldaquin Birdies. It is on a 28 count Zweigart linen. So, and this is using blended threads. So this is where we are. So the big thing that I got in this last time was just starting to get to his name. I decided to use the Icelandic characters rather than the Roman characters, and they're pretty similar. And I'm also I've been trying to study through YouTube how to pronounce his name. So at some point before I finish this, I will be able to say his name in Icelandic. So that's one of my goals. So anyway, that is small progress, but I always enjoy pulling this one out now. I've also discovered that I really love working on linens more than other even weaves, so that's one of my recent discoveries when it comes to me and fabric. So that one is, I don't know what it is. I have to figure this out. Maybe it's because it's a little looser, not as tight in between. I don't know exactly why it is, but I'm really discovering that whatever that thing is, the enjoyment that I get out of doing linen is just there when I'm not doing any even weave. And I think my stitches are a lot better on linen too. So I think I'm a bit aggressive when I am stitching, and there's something about the structure of linen that holds them in place a little better than even weave. Okay, so moving on to my Blackwork. This is from the Steady Thread. It is the 2025 SAL. So this is my progress since the last time you saw it. So I think I got 3 or 4 in, so a little more progress than I was hoping. This is my distraction piece. Whenever I really think, oh, I should be doing that one, this is the one that I end up doing. And this, when it comes to timeline and priorities, should be at the bottom of the list. But this is my procrastination piece. So, yeah. So, also, congratulations to everybody who won the gift card. I still have one person who has not contacted me about that. So Nancy Shaw, is it F7I? Go ahead and send me an email and I will get your gift certificate to you. I will hold that on until May 30th, and then after May 30th I will draw, if I don't hear from Nancy, I will draw a new winner for that, based on the original entries. All right, so this next one is, what are we calling it? This is the Rainbow Sheep Row. There won't be any rainbow colors in mine because I have done color variations, but this is from Catkin and Lily. There are, let me show you where I was last time. So I had 3 done last time and I just got 1 more done this time. So let's see, this one over here is the one that I got done. And actually it's showing up really well, at least from what I can tell on the camera. You can see some of the definition and the patterns in there within the sheep's wool. So it's one of those things where I was not sure whether that was showing up or not. I could see it on my end, but it actually looks like it's showing up well for everybody to see. I have been playing around with the colors on that and just experiment with shading. When I first started this, it was just a complete experiment, but I love this thing so much that it's going to have a place in my home somewhere as soon as I get done. So that's actually on my short list for a finish really soon as well. I'll talk more about my plans when it comes to finishes when we get into plans. So also a little bit about plans is Extraordinary Birds. I'll go ahead and put a picture up on where I was on this one last time. I haven't got a lot done, but I was doing a lot of thinking and soul searching about where I was and how much stitching I had on my plate. And I decided that I was just going to reevaluate everything and how I was going to do it. We can talk a little more about that later when I get into plans too, because I think it'll make a little more sense at that point when we talk about plans. But I had a lot going on. I was enjoying everything, but I was in a steady place where I felt like it was a good balance of everything. And then I got FOMO and Extraordinary Birds came out, and I knew I wanted to do the Deadly Aquarium. So I'm like, well, I can't miss the Extraordinary Birds. So I jumped on the bandwagon, even though I knew I didn't have the time to do it. So I've changed plans, so you're going to see a lot slower progress from me than you will from a lot of the other floss tubers. There's a lot of people who incredibly are keeping up with it, which amazes me, boggles my mind. I know some people were done with the frame in the first week or the first 2 weeks. I'm only a third done with the frame, and then the first feature has already come out last Friday. So I'm not going to be keeping up with that. What I've decided to do is give myself 1 month for every feature, and so that puts me sometime summer of 2026, and I will just build the frame out as that goes along too. There may be some deviation if I get excited about something, or if a new bird comes out, I'm like, yeah, I have to do that. Or maybe there's some little stitch along, which I'll tell you a little more about later too, where I can devote some extra time to it, I will. But other than that, I'm just going to be responsible with my own time and just enjoy the piece and the design as it is, and not try to keep up with the Sal. But I am enjoying watching everybody else do it, and I love the design of anything that Lola Girl can make. So yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. I'm just going to be behind on the Sal, and I'm going to be okay with that. So here's where I am. So the last time you did see the barn owl, so he hasn't changed too much, but I have got a little bit more of this work in over here. So based on my new timeline, he's up to date. So there's more down here below the fold, but I haven't done any work down there. So so that is unchanged. But it's really fun. I'm going to get the top of the frame done, work on some of that back stitching. I don't mind back stitching too much, but I tend to do it as I go along. I can imagine if I waited till the end, then I probably wouldn't enjoy it too much. Next one up is Baldaquin Birdies by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is on a 28 count Jolakotturinn. So I am also doing this one for Andrew, the Runner Stitcher's Whip into Shape, hashtag Whip into Shape challenge. So to support him as he's training for his marathon in August. So I am almost caught up with where he is. I didn't do his weekend stitches, so whatever he has run over this past weekend, I haven't done yet. So that's on my plan to get done early this week. So here is where I am. So making some progress here. So I have got this portion down here, got a little chunk there, and then I did little bits all around the edge. So I was glad to have Andrew do that challenge because it's keeping me accountable on keeping this moving. But it takes a lot of work to get this one to actually look like it's changed too much. So there's just little bits here and there that I have added on. But I am glad to have that other external thing too, to make sure that this thing keeps moving along. Okay, the next one is halfway to Halloween. So this is called Happy Halloween by Stone Creek. Yes, Stone Creek. And this is on a 22 count Hardanger. So that was a new discovery for me last time, or when I started using it. I think I told you about my miscalculation on the stitches. But I'm loving how this piece is turning out. It's a complete color conversion, and I have actually done some modifications to the pattern itself. So if you look at the cat is going to be a little different than what it was originally charted as. And then I have done moved away from the greens and grays, moved towards to the blacks, oranges, and yellows, which I prefer for my Halloween look. So I am loving this piece. It is just so much fun to stitch. So really enjoying where it's going, and I just have a little bit over here to come along. I actually know what I'm going to be doing for when I finish this, so I am excited about that. what other changes have I made? There's going to be was a mask here, like the traditional mask that you tie around your eyes, an eye mask, and I'm going to convert that to a little more. Put another piece of candy corn in there. I don't care for masks. So those are my big changes. So I'm loving how this is turning out. Really enjoying this. If you are not following hashtag halfway to Halloween Sal, go and look and see what everybody's doing. There's so many people doing so many fun and creative things, and it's been really entertaining and really enjoyable to watch that. So follow that on Instagram. I've had the question come up a couple times about how long this goes for, and it's whenever. So it's more about just like, hey, let's do something different halfway through the year. And so I'm going to finish this one up. I'll be done by May, but I'm going to keep on watching what other people are doing and see the progress on things that they started at that time. I'm going to be starting some more Halloween projects, maybe in July. I'll probably take June off, but probably July, and then work all the way through the season. So the hashtag will probably get used less. I'm not going to use it for all my other projects after this until next year. But there are definitely some projects that are going on out there that are going to take a couple months, or people might continue to use throughout the year or whenever they're working on them. So continue to follow that. It's fun. I've been inspired to do so many things. I can't tell you how many times I've written notes down about, okay, I'm going to do that pattern too. So there's so many fun patterns out there with the halfway to Halloween Sal. So definitely go look for that, and do it at your own pace. So just enjoy Halloween when you can. This next one you have not seen since my very first video. It lives in a different home. This is a gift, so it has to hide and move around the house discreetly. So it has a different home, so sometimes it gets neglected. And I want to make sure that it's not going to get neglected. So I've actually put a lot of work in the past couple weeks on this one. Again, this is also on a 28 count linens by Art Linen. And this is the other one that reminded me, it's like, yeah, I really do love working on linen. So this is See You in Spring. Oops. And so it is our little frog and toad. Okay, we're going to try this again. Little frog and toad. Okay, we're back. Excuse his one eye. That was not the most glorious time, and I'm working on some partial stitches there. So there's 3/4 stitch and quarter stitch, and it's complicated. I may go back and redo that, but we got some significant work over there on him. Was already there last time, but then I got most of the work over here on Frog. So a few little details here and there. But anyway, so that one is going to find more time in the current rotation. It was just taking some time off. So he's back. Really fun to stitch. And it's just happy too. So, right. Great memories. So that, you'll see that more often. And finally is little mini Saga. Again, I cannot talk today. Long dog samplers. And so I'm doing this 1/1 on a 32 count Zweigart. So here is where we are. So excuse my little threads. I have found that doing the 1/1, it's a little tight on the back. So sometimes it seems like it's a little stressful for the floss if I'm trying to secure it at the end, just running it under stitches. So I'm trying to just lay it flat and then running stitches over it. It's a little uglier in the process, but I just feel like I'm doing less damage that way. So since the last time, over here, we got this little goose in, and some of there's a little bug right there, and some of the vegetation down here. I still have to go down and do the water down there. I finished off this squirrel. And the exciting part on this is this new color. So these are the celestial items. So they get a distinctive color. There's much fewer of them throughout the pattern. When I was doing, selecting my floss colors, I loved what it looked like on with the collection of flosses, and that was sort of a pop. Slightly different from what you would expect where that gold should be. And I loved it when they're sitting in skeins of floss. And so I was really concerned about what it would look like when it actually got into the piece. I took about 3 stitches of this little star over here, and I was sold. I love it. It is exactly what I wanted it to do. So again, now we just have 2 more colors to add when it comes to the man-made world. So we'll have all of our human figures will be one color, and then the man-made objects will be another color too. So again, variations on in the red side of the spectrum. But you know, I'm loving where this goes. Again, that hippo is massive. You might think that I haven't touched it at all. I've actually put a lot into that. This is I'm on track where I should be on this project, and but I feel like that hippo is like a giant black hole that's just sucking up all my stitches, and so it doesn't look like I'm getting much done. But we're getting there slowly. All right, that is it for my WIPS. All right, moving on to my plans. I thought it might be helpful considering our extraordinary bird discussion and how it, you know, kind of threw me off on what I was doing, that I kind of explain my approach a little more. So what I do is I have all my projects in a spreadsheet, and I know their total stitches for the most part, unless they're not included in the pattern, and then I kind of guesstimate what those are. And then I also give myself, when I decide when I start, and then when I would like to be finished. For the most part, those are the finish date is flexible. In my brain, I need to know that something is on a certain trajectory and there's a path for it. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that. Plans are only there, but I like to know where things are moving, even if I change the plans. So I know I get tons of encouragement from people like, don't stress about it, don't stress about it. And I'm really not too stressed about it. But I do kind of like to know where things are. So I keep those dates in there, and basically it tells me how many stitches I have to do a week to get that done at that particular rate. And then I can make decisions about whether having that information, it can tell me whether it's reasonable or not reasonable, and what I can feasibly do within a time frame. And then as I'm going along too, I'm also learning about how much I can reasonably stitch in a week. And I'm getting closer. At some point I was like, oh yeah, I could do 10,000 stitches in a week. I can't do that. I don't have the time and I'm really slow. So it's not an option. So this allows me to really be realistic about my plans and what I want to bring on. I want to make sure that I have time for each of my WIPs, and that I can dedicate the time that I choose to dedicate to it or make those decisions. I know a lot of people like the flexibility of just being able to choose many things, and they're okay if things don't move along, and if it just sits there, they're more of a process stitcher, and I think I am too. But there's also something about where I do need the completion and the progress along the way. Otherwise, I would, yeah, I just need that. So with all that information, I can kind of have a good gauge of where everything where everything is, and then I can make decisions about it. So right now, I have a target about 3,500 stitches a week. I don't think I've ever hit that, but that's my max, where I'm like, okay, I can't do anything more than that, so I need to be realistic about putting that on things. And so with the Extraordinary Birds, trying to keep on track with that, literally I would be doing nothing else. And I wanted to enjoy it. I didn't want it to feel obligated to do it. I didn't want to feel like I was always behind. That's why I changed my timeline. And now it works better with where I was. Before Extraordinary Birds, I felt like I was in a good place. And maybe there's a little bit of pressure, maybe a little bit more than I can handle, but it was, just enough to be challenging. So that's kind of where I reassessed my Ordinary Birds, put it back in line. So looking at the spreadsheet that I have, I have this projection graph. Basically, with all my projects, with the timelines that they're given, what's my workload? And I know that sounds very business-like. That's how my brain kind of works. It's like it just gives me a lay of the land of what's going on in the horizon, and so I can kind of guess when something can come in. So looking at the spreadsheet, like right now, May, there's a lot going on. I have a few extra things that I started that I didn't want to. Those are going to be wrapping up. So by the end of May, I should be back into this thing where I am looking at 450 stitches a day. So I'm not going to do the math to get that down, but that's a little less than, a little more than 3,000 for the week. So that goes on through the summer, and I do have some summer plans that I still have to figure out exactly where those go into here. We'll talk about those in a bit. Then you can see that I have these some seasonal stitching that I actually have been planning for a long time that's already built in here, too, for September and October. And then after the end of October, I have a lot of things wrapping up. So that's a plan. So then I'll have a lot more flexibility, and I can add new stuff later into November and beyond. So that's how I kind of organize these things. And then I've already gone through and said, you know what? There's several of my projects I've already extended. So Yolcat got an extension already. My folk art sailing ship got an extension, a pretty good extension. Extraordinary Birds. So they kind of got moved out to be a little more realistic. So with all that, let's talk about what I'm actually planning. And the other thing about that too, that I like to consider in all that is sometimes there are some fun little WIPs. No, not that. Sometimes there are some fun little challenges or stitch-alongs or other things that come up that are just little tiny things that happen in the Flosstube world, where you just can participate in the community and just have fun with people. And I want to save some room for that too. It's like the Spring Quaker, I was not planning on doing that, but it gave me an opportunity to interact with other people who were doing the same thing. It gave me an opportunity to experiment a little bit. So that one was completely not planned ahead of time, but it was fun to have the room to add that on. So one thing that I'm going to do for May is I'm doing focus on finishes. I saw this is not original to me, I saw somebody does focus on finish Fridays. So I tried that this last Friday. I did a very horrible job. I got completely distracted and just did Blackwork all day. So I am going to try to really look at that. I have a hard time finishing things. There's something about getting close to a finish where it's like, oh, once I finish, then it's done. And I don't know what goes on in my brain exactly, like why, but the closer and closer I get to the finish, the more I don't want to do it, because maybe it's the perfectionist in me where it's like, okay, once it's done, then I can't fix anything, then it's permanent. I don't know what it is, but I do struggle to finish. So I'm going to try to focus a little more on really taking things to that point. So I have 3 items that I really want to have as my finish pieces, my focus finish pieces. So that's going to be my Happy Halloween, which is what I'm doing for halfway to Halloween. My little rainbow sheep row will be my other one. I only have 3 sheep left. And and I'm really excited about getting those all wrapped up and completed. I really want to get that one fully finished, so that's why that one's on my list. And it was an ad hoc thing, it was not part of my plans. So I do want to make sure that if I'm not throwing things in there that are just completely throwing off. And then the last one is Night of All Fears. That was my original cross stitch. It's not a complicated pattern. It doesn't need to take as long as time as I'm giving it, so I'm really going to give it some priority. So that's me trying to, get things a little closer to that finish line. They're not all going to get finished in May, but when I do get one of them, I think I'm going to get at least Happy Halloween done. Then I'll add another one to the focus of the finish. I'll always have 3 in there for right now. My other plans are Baldaquin Birdies, which I'm doing for Andrew the Runner Stitcher's Whip into Shape. So that is one that I really want to keep on focus too. So it's been great seeing everybody else posting all their things about that, and so keeping that moving forward will be great. That is also one of my priorities anyway, so it's just that extra little kick from Andrew's challenge has been great. Let's see. I do have a new start, and this one's not going to be, I know what I'm going to do. I'm excited about this one. I am going to participate in the artist trading card exchange that Laura by Stitching by the Shore does. If you're not familiar with that, you get little tiny dimensions. It's like 2.5 by 3.5 something. Go check out Laura's playlist over there about the artist trading cards, and she'll give you all the information. And you can participate if you want to as well, but basically you stitch something that is no bigger than that, and there's very little rules about what it looks like or what comes from it. And you send it to her, and then she sends it out. This summer, the theme is air and water. And you can do something for air, you can do something for water, you can do something for the combination, but that is the summer theme. And then she's going to have an autumn theme, which is going to be earth and fire. And so I'm really excited about that. I saw her doing it in the winter/springtime. She ended it probably in February or March. And everybody just seemed to have so much fun with it. There were so many great ideas about what people were doing, and I think the theme at the time was where I'm from or where I live, something like that. And the way people could interpret that prompt was just so much fun, and just to see the creativity and everybody sharing their ideas. She does a wrap up at the end of showing all of them, and I think she probably had 100 or more of these little trading cards. And so it was really fun to see everybody stitching in little tiny formats, and then at the end of it, you'll have a piece delivered to you too. So that was a lot of fun to watch, and so this time I didn't want to miss out. So I'm going to be participating in that too. I will not be sharing my progress on that. I will probably keep you updated on when I do it, but I'm not going to be sharing that here because part of the fun is actually to see that final wrap up that Laura does. So I'm just going to send it off to her and let her, show everybody on there, because the reveal on that end is always so much fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I am going to be starting a summer project, and I still have a lot of things to work out in my brain. I am going to be doing the flea market flowers, and this is a gift from Lynn in Colorado. So I'm going to be doing this over the summer. I have already chosen new floss for this. I am. That looks very odd to me, doesn't it? That's okay. I don't mind. They're bright colors for me, but they are still in my autumn world. So maybe this will be a summer into autumn little stitch. But flea market flowers. I am debating several things. I know the colors I want to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it square. I am thinking I might do it in 3 columns and do something similar to a bell pull. I'm also thinking possibly a doorstop. So there's a lot of things going on in my brain, and so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. I have to make a decision sometime soon. But I have to at least get one other thing off my plate before I can start this. So anyway, yeah, that's one thing that is going on that I still have a lot of thoughts jumbled around in my mind. I am definitely committed to the colors. The colors have been in my brain a lot longer than this particular pattern, and when the pattern showed up, it was like, okay, that's where they're going. So that's the one thing that is set. The format, what I'm rearranging, what the ultimate thing I'm looking at is what fabric I'm using, the color of the fabric. That's still all up in the air. But I'm excited to get this going, even though I don't know exactly where it's going yet. So that is my one big new start on the immediate horizon. Another new start that will be coming probably tomorrow, and this is unexpected. This is one of those exciting conversations around Stitch North, and it just snowballed for me, just hearing everything going on, having conversations. Long story short, I was talking to Sheldon of Sheldon and Stitches about his experience at Stitch North, and so he was getting me all excited, and then I was like, hey, guess what, Sheldon? I just registered and for next year. And so he's like, wow, that's great. He's like, so much fun. We're talking about smalls exchanges and new starts at Stitch North and everything that just surrounds it. And somehow we ended up getting, it's like, oh, what would also be fun is if we did a round robin. So it's like, we're going to do a round robin too. So we roped Andrew the Runner Stitcher and Tyler from Will It Stitch. We decided, okay, we're going to do this. So I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm still kind of tweaking that. So the next time I'll have some stitching done on that. So that'll be a new start, and I'll let you know all the details of that, of kind of like what I'm putting on paper right now. So yeah, so that's coming up. But then now I'm thinking that I think that'd be really fun to do in this community too, and just do a round robin. So I don't know exactly how that would work. I think we would have to block off, create little groups of people, and figure out how to do a pattern. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and we can figure out how to make that work. I am more than happy to do all the logistical things on my side. I love doing that sort of stuff, but I don't even know if there's an interest or the mechanics of that. So I'm going to have to go figure that out. So let me know what you think. Oh, and I didn't do this at the beginning, but you can always email me at jasonxstitches@gmail.com or send me a message at Instagram at jasonxstitches. So that's the other thing. My last pseudo plan for this week, but also just a celebration, is for Stitching with Charlie. And Charlie, I am going to be celebrating her birthday on May 21st, and I am actually going to dedicate working on the first feature of Extraordinary Birds, the little spoonbill, to her. So, because she wanted everyone to send something about nature for her birthday, and so her birthday, March 21st. I will be stitching that and thinking about her and celebrating with her across the pond. So happy birthday, Shirley. I look forward to doing that. I'm really excited and glad to be doing this with you and celebrating your birthday, and so excited about that. That is all I had for this episode. I appreciate you so much sharing your time with me today, and I look forward to hearing from you throughout the next 2 weeks. Through Instagram and email, and continuing the conversation while we're away. Remember to always share your kindness with the world, and until next time, happy stitching.